Hello everybody, I'm here today with Tymon. We're going to be doing a short little interview for Dying Light 2. Before I get into the first question, everybody wants to know, is Kyle Crane the Night Hunter?
So you will find an answer to the most to the hottest questions from
Really?
the first game and from the following if you play Dying Light to stay human, but they will not be like plainly visible. You will have to actually explore the game quite a bit to find all of the answers that you're looking for.
So that answer is there?
Yes, it is.
That
there.
answer
Yes,
is there.
yes.
You heard it.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you. Perfect. Okay, so first question. So I just got done playing maybe like 2 to 3 hours.
Okay. Did you like it?
I do. I like it a lot.
That's good to hear. We have this on camera, guys. He liked it.
The thing is, when I went into playing it, I was playing it like the original Dying Light.
Okay.
And it's very different.
Yes, it
from
is
that.
different. Yes.
Can you explain a little bit about that?
Well,
is that the intention behind it?
I think there are so many things that are like. Actually, that's a funny thing because when you look at this, at it, you may say it's basically the same game. Like it's the evolution of the formula. But when you start actually playing it, you start noticing that it plays different. It feels different. And but when you were playing this, like what kind of how was it different for you?
Like a lot of for example, like some of the basic things that you had in the original when you start, like for jumping you keep going through, but in this one it's a skill. Yeah.
Okay, so but also I think one thing that I hope you notice is that it's easier to get into.
It is.
So that was our goal, because Dying Light is a game that's based on quite complex mechanics, because it's parkour and it's melee combat, so you have to measure the distance to the enemy, to the obstacle, you have to time your button presses very well to actually be able to make those jumps, to hit when the enemy is like lowering his guard and there's an opening for you to hit. So there are a lot of complex mechanics, and we felt that maybe they are too difficult and too complex and maybe too scary for some people. So we just wanted to make the whole experience a little bit more streamlined. And it also refers to what you mentioned, that you get some abilities as skills, because this allows you to also learn those skills as you play the game. So this is something we actually noticed while seeing how people interact with Dying Light to stay human on playtests, that it's way more accessible, but also hopefully we didn't lose the edge that the game was having, the emotions of hopelessness and being overwhelmed by everything that's around you. We didn't lost it. Now we just give you more ways to face those challenges and face those difficult enemies, those difficult obstacles. I believe that's a good direction. I believe that opens the experience to more people, and this is what we really want to achieve. We want to satisfy the core Dying Light community, but also show new people, new guys.
Sure.
Hey, there's this game. Maybe you would like it if you try it.
Yeah. And another thing I mentioned, I noticed too, is that the game is a lot more of an RPG this time around than compared to the original. You have outfits, you have all the different mods for your weapons. There's so much more in depth with how it is compared to the original. But
when you mention all of those things, they not only give you that RPG edge, they also give you that feeling of freedom, of being able to modify and customize your gameplay style and your character however you want. And for me personally, Dying Light was always a game about freedom. Like the thing we did with parkour in the first game, it was open world first person parkour where you were able to climb almost over anything and see what's behind every wall. That was a feeling of freedom that wasn't basically that you couldn't experience in any other game back then. So that word freedom was basically a definition of the game for me for the first one, and we just like grading on it, expanding on it with the sequel.
But what were some of the issues that were being brought up throughout this entire preview event? Like, is there anything that keeps reoccurring that you're hearing from feedback and everything?
Actually, the feedback is extremely positive. Like,
awesome.
I'm really surprised. Well, maybe not surprised by how positive it is, because of course, when you are working on something, you try to be modest. And also you don't you stop seeing what you're doing. Like you just want to get the game to be ready to release, and you kind of start being sure that it's a good game. You enjoy it when you play it, but you don't know if it's just you or will other people also see it. So we really went into those preview events hoping to reassure ourselves and get that confidence that it is a good game, and we actually getting that. So I think if there's one thing that's constant is actually this, and the good thing is that people are noticing things that we focused on purpose, like making the game more accessible, or even like some people are noticing our sound design, and we have actually spent a lot of effort on various areas in the game, and maybe changing some things of the Dying Light formula, and people are noticing this and telling us, hey, that works. I noticed that. I appreciate what you did in those with those different mechanics. So yes, it's extremely positive, and to be honest, it's really something that gives us a huge boost of energy, because that's the last stretch. We have like what, 3 months now to finish the game, and that energy is needed. So absolutely. And thank you also that your words that you like the game. This is something very important for us.
Another big thing too is, so aside from, I did a couple of decisions with player choice. They really go in depth with it. I do like that addition to it. Aside from the parkour and the player choice, what separates your open world game compared to other games that are out there on the market? Because there's
open world games. I think
games.
the answer is simple verticality. Like
the verticality, I love it.
Like there are a lot of open world games where they have those huge open worlds, but those open worlds are usually very flat. In our game, it's extremely vertical in some places. It's generally very vertical, but there are places like the Central Loop, the business district, with huge skyscrapers where we take that verticality to the extreme. And what this makes is that it's not just like people keep asking us what's the size of the map, and like we give out a number, but it's not about the size of the map when you look at it from the bird's eye view. It's about how multi-layered it is and how much space we have created for you to explore. So definitely it's the verticality of the world.
Awesome. Sort of gonna jump around a little bit with the questions, because I have a little community that's always passionate for Dying Light, and they want to know.
So thank you guys. Thank you for supporting us. This is really important. So,
couple big ones. Any accessibility support for the game?
Yes, so there will be accessibility options definitely available from the start. We will make some announcements about it closer to the release date, so I don't want to spoil that right now, but definitely we are thinking about this. And of course we will be very closely listening to what our community has to say and adding additional features after the game is released in that context, in that area of the game, definitely.
Perfect. Mod support. Any plans for that?
Nothing that we would like to discuss at this point. And I think you can expect something similar that we did in the first game. Like, we weren't supporting mods at the start because we wanted to make sure that when we do that, we are ready to actually allow the game to be modified like that. And then after some time, quite quickly after the release, we unlocked it, let's say, and it was possible. So I think we will follow a similar scenario now as well.
Photo mode. Anything?
Again, please look at what happened with the DL1 and like take it from there.
Okay, and then the big one that I know the BTZ community wants to know. Are there any plans for like a multiplayer mode, any PvP mode?
Okay, so for launch it's 4-player co-op, and we are focusing on this very much because this is, you could say, okay, they had 4-player co-op in the first game, but it's different in this game, and it's different because of quite a few reasons. And I think the most important reason is that it is a game about choice and about making decisions, and like you cannot make decisions by like 4 people, because if you have 4 people you will never make a decision, because everyone will have like a different so someone has to make that the final decision, the final call, so and that's always the host of the session. Yes.
Okay.
But of course we support other people arguing about what you should do like various things. So you can talk about the headset, but there are also UI elements, UI solutions that kind of allow you to suggest or vote on some of the choices, basically all of the choices in the game. But the interesting bit is that it is host that makes the decisions. The other players, they they basically experience the host decisions and his version of the story. But then when they get back to their own game, they keep the player progression, so all of the XPs, all of the loot that they gathered.
So if they got a specific weapon from that choice in that host world, they
yes,
keep that weapon.
Absolutely yes, absolutely yes. But then they get back to their own game, and now they are making those decisions, and they can see other versions of the story, other versions of how the city can look. And like for me, the optimal way to play the game is you play it either solo or with your friends or with strangers, but as a host. And this is like your canon playthrough through the game, and this is your version of the story. And then when you finish that, the next weekend, the weekend over that, you just hop in online, start joining other people's games, and start seeing other variations of it, other possible branches and other possible endings.
It's funny with the co-op. I know in the original, everybody's Kyle Crane. Is everybody Aiden in this one?
We allow players to customize the main character. We will also be explaining this a little bit more before the release. So, like, you will not see 4 clones of the same character running around. Okay. You will be able to customize it.
Will players be able to change the difficulty on the fly?
Yes, so difficulty can be changed on the fly, and since you represent a community of Dying Light 1 players, I would like to say that there's one difficulty mode especially tailored for the Harran survivors, as we call them, Harran veterans. And if you want that real Dying Light experience where it starts hard and you have to fight very, very hard to like power up yourself and suddenly give the infected and give the humans what you wanted to give them from the start, then definitely choose that difficulty mode. You will see it in this, when you start the game. There's one that's very clearly described as something for the Harran veterans. Please choose that, because then you will get the most fun out of the game.
What difficulty are we playing?
Actually,
because it's difficult. It's
really?
It's challenging.
Okay, so maybe I shouldn't tell you the fact that we actually made it a little bit easier for it, so it's easier than the regular mode, because like you don't have we are dropping you in a preview which is like 4 to 5 hours into the storyline, so you don't have the time to learn all of the initial mechanics, so it's a little easier. It's not an easy mode, definitely, but it's like the regular mode with some little tweaks that make the experience a little easier for you.
Yeah, especially during the nighttime.
Yes,
it's challenging.
Good to hear that.
Which like from the original, like once you level it up and power it up, it was kind of like a cakewalk in some areas. But where we're at right now, it's challenging. Like,
good to hear.
I went into a quest during the day that was specifically for the night.
Okay.
And they don't give you any chance to survive. You need to go back in the
absolutely,
night.
absolutely. And this is actually something we wanted to have in the game. We wanted to have things and opportunities that are only available during the night, because actually that's a funny thing that we have learned, that a lot of people were skipping the night part in the first game. I don't know, maybe it was too difficult for them, or maybe they lacked that incentive to go out at night. So we are giving them that incentive, either through quests that you can complete during the night, or by basically providing you the most powerful weapons and most valuable loot in the dark places that during the night are emptied by the infected. So maybe let me explain this a little deeper. During the day, the infected stay inside dark places and interiors, so it's very difficult to go there. It's basically a suicide. But then when the night comes, they go out on the streets, and this is your moment where you can dive into those dark places and loot them from everything that's valuable there. So the incentive to go out at night is actually built into the world itself.
Yeah, awesome. All right, 3 more.
Okay.
What's the biggest distinction between Kyle Crane and Aiden?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't think anyone asked this before.
These questions were weeks in the making.
Okay. So I can sense that. I don't know. There are different characters. Actually, there are different characters. So it's kind of hard to compare them. But I think both of them have this specific cockiness that's kind of like a definition of Dying Light protagonists. So we have on this preview here, we have Jonah Scott.
He's sitting right next to me.
Like a great voice actor who's also voicing Beastars, and he really added that personality, that cockiness to Aiden, and I think this is what connects Aiden Caldwell and Kai Drake.
For you, Peacekeepers or Survivors? In your playthrough,
that's political. I don't want to answer that. I don't want to answer that.
Are there any like office arguments where people are like, "Hey, Peacekeepers"? We need...
So I would choose like an escape route, an easy, a safe answer. I think for me, Lawan, because she's neither a peacekeeper, neither a survivor. She's not a faction, but she's a very powerful character, and character that really came alive when Rosario Dawson joined the cast, and she started tweaking and working with the character and changing the script that we had for her, because like she felt this would add to the character, and it really did. So maybe it's like I'm avoiding the question a little bit to not get too political, but for me, like if I was to choose sides, I would choose Lawan.
Okay. And then last one, is there anything you would like to say to the community back home watching right now?
Oh guys, like he's actually the lucky guy, because he was able to play Dying Light 2 Stay Human before the release. It's still 3 months till the release, but I hope when you will actually be able to play it on February 4th, you will have as much fun as this gentleman had today. And please support us on the last line till the release, and like I hope you will enjoy what we have prepared for you. We know we cannot disappoint you, because you guys gave us confidence to work on this game and trust in our ideas. So please stay with us, and see you in February.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
That was great.